right, it is 4 o'clock. Today is May 18th, 2023. This is the Senior Center Commission meeting. We have a lot to go over in a short amount of time, so I'm going to let's go through introductions super quick, starting with Kristen.
Kristen Crumray, staff.
Sue Melliker, Commissioner.
Nancy Strachny, Commissioner.
Angela, Commissioner.
Warren Paris, Commissioner.
Latasha Deloach, staff.
Tasha Lara, Commissioner.
Pauline Taylor, Iowa City Council.
Andrew Dunn, Iowa City Council.
Thank you very much,
Can I do
everybody.
one note to remind people to please speak all the way into the microphone because we're recording and we know that we work with varied populations of hearing abilities.
And that was our trial run to speak in the microphone.
Yes.
And we'll see if you've passed or failed. The second item on the agenda is minutes of the March 16th, 2023 meeting. I would accept a motion to accept the minutes as written, or do you have any edits that you'd like to make? It was in the packet for today. All right, hearing no edits, I'd take a motion to pass the minutes of March 16th, 2023.
Second.
You got a motion first.
Oh,
You got a
do we
motion
have-
first.
We need a motion first. You motion. Sorry, we have a new group. This
Yes.
basically, I don't think we've passed anything since any of you. So usually when we need to vote on something, somebody would say they move the minutes of the March 16th, 2023 meeting. So one person moves and a second person will chime in and second. I can't make motions because I'm chair, so I
And the staff,
rely
and we're
on
staff,
you.
so we can't either.
And staff can't make motions. So the four of you can move things and second things.
Yeah, is it green?
No,
You
it
might
is.
need to move it
No,
down
it is.
closer
I got
to
it.
your,
It's all ready to roll.
So I need to make a motion to accept the minutes
yep,
as they stand.
yep.
Yes, exactly, perfect. I'll take.
Second.
Awesome. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Everybody who accepts the minutes, say aye.
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 Anybody who rejects the minutes motion, say nay. All right, it passes. Agenda item number 3. Thank you for walking us through our first vote with new people. It's awesome. Okay. Third agenda item is public discussion for items not on the agenda. This is where we would invite members of the public to make comments. We have one member of the public, but you don't want to make a comment today, or? Okay. Oh, she's here to listen. Okay, good. And we wouldn't necessarily be able to have a conversation about the items if someone did bring up something, but we could, listen to them. And we don't have anybody to talk about anything today. So we're going to move on to agenda item number 4, City of Iowa City Strategic Plan presentation. And we have 2 city councilors here today with us.
Thank you, Angela. And I'd like to thank each of you for allowing us to have some time during your meeting, and it sounds like a very busy schedule time, to share the city's strategic plan and how your work as a commission can help support that vision. So without further hesitation, we have a slide presentation, just a little history of council, and you can chime in too, Andrew, if this is Councilor Dunn, if you have anything to say. The council and staff engaged in a very extensive process. We had several meetings, including one all-day Saturday meeting, to refine the vision that's been started in the past, and to update the vision and the action steps and the process and priorities. But it stayed pretty much the same for the city. So without further ado, we'll just kind of talk about a little bit about, we'll go through the slides and see if there's examples that you can think of how you can carry out these values with your board and commission work.
Want to go overview or?
Do we do the overview?
And I'll go wherever you want me to.
Oh, okay. I think I have my pages mixed up here.
That's okay.
Well, we can go by the slides.
We can just talk about it.
Yeah, obviously the values, yeah, you want to go back to values there.
This is the overview.
Yeah, okay, that's the overview, our strategic values. We obviously face many challenges, as you do as a commission. You've run into those things especially by the state and some of the rules that they make that kind of preempt things that we as a local government would like to do. The regional population growth and more demand for services, as we've seen with the senior center, and from what we've heard, our senior population is increasing, so which makes your work as a commission and this center even more important for the values of this community and the members of the community. Climate change, obviously, that's pretty important. And federal funding opportunities. You've got to always boils down to money, right? So we need to always keep those things in mind.
I'll say one thing about that too. That is also now seeming to be a potential challenge for us in the near future, as it has come out that unspent ARPA dollars might be on the chopping block in negotiations for the debt ceiling in Washington, D.C. So we're absolutely keeping our eyes on that, and we're hoping that doesn't happen and we can continue with the plans that we have proposed.
Counselor Dunn, could you tell what ARPA means?
Yeah, the American Rescue Plan Act. So that was the first stimulus bill that was passed into law that gave the city of Iowa City and a lot of other municipal governments, as well as authorized a lot of other social programs around the United States during the very turbulent economic times of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you. I was just trying to catch people up.
Absolutely.
And they did indeed, usually with all federal things, come with a time limit, time restriction. So we have to be keenly aware of what those timelines are and utilize those funds as best we can.
Absolutely.
Best way to predict your future is to create it. City of Iowa City strategy map, these are kinds of things, the values, partnerships, which we partner with our commissions on achieving our goals. Climate action, of course, always concerned about that. Racial equity, social justice, and human rights. And I think that's vitally important with the senior center. You welcome all ages. I think that's not a well-known fact. People always associate senior with, oh gosh, over 60 or 65 years old, but you even welcome the youth and have things for that. The Folk Machine, that's just so amazing. I've seen their concerts, and that's really young people too, and it's great in all ages. How it will impact the community, mobility and safety and well-being. I think mobility, people always think of our transit system, buses and cars, but I think that you folks with your exercise room and those kinds of programs, the dancing classes, the things that really keep the citizens moving, keep them healthy. You have the health classes. I myself participated in, when I came of age, the spacing on the ship. The ship, yes, thank you.
I will need the ship
The ship,
program when I come of age too. I'm
Yes,
already
the person
confused.
that was here, I came here to meet
Yeah.
with them, and he was very helpful in guiding me towards, they don't tell you what to do, but they help you to understand the different programs, and I think that falls into safety and well-being, as well as economy. It helps a person to really realize, well, what can I afford? And I think you folks do a great job of that aspect, too.
And I'll just say one thing about this, particularly about the mobility component, something that I think that we should be making people as aware of as possible is we are planning on introducing fare-free public transit in Iowa City at our next meeting, and then transitioning that over the next period of months. So that is a big component, and that is going to affect everyone in our community, hopefully, as much as possible. So just wanted to also make sure you guys knew that.
So being the person in charge of transit in North Liberty as part of my job, I've brought up many times the idea of like a regionalized system instead of a piecemeal system between each city, each municipality, and the county. There's limitations on what I can do in North Liberty because I'm not a transit authority, and I can't be a transit authority because there's too many transit authorities in Johnson County. So it would be nice if we all merged those efforts. And, the free fare was something I was hoping that would come out of the last study, but so I'm really thrilled that you guys are.
It's coming out for Iowa City.
Yes, it is. I know a lot of, and I'm over 65, and I wasn't aware that I already could,
Yeah,
with a
you get this
pass, I could
pass,
ride
yeah.
free, but
I issued
this
those.
would make it even easier. You wouldn't need a pass. You just get on the bus and ride, and hopefully that might help some more folks come over to the senior center. Just hop the bus and know which route to take and head right here to the senior center, so that will be good.
We would also love your help in making sure that your members know that. So let's utilize it.
Exactly, exactly. So you as a commission, even though you might not know it, you do have an effect and impact on the city's strategic plan.
Yeah. Resources?
Next.
You want to talk about
Oh,
resources?
go ahead and talk about
So
resources.
resources, of course, we're always going to need them to make sure that we act on our values and live out the impact of our strategy. Facilities, equipment, and technology, always people and our financial resources, whether those are our funding streams through the federal government, through our local taxes, or through our enterprise funds.
And the facilities part, of course, I know I saw something on the bulletin board. It's really important, and it's been talked about for a number of years as far as the location of the senior center itself. So we as a council value input from the commission and your center members of what your thoughts are on that, because that's very important.
Values more specifically. You want me to go into this?
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, so our values represent both a lens through which we are approaching our work to build our city, as well as desired end state when our work is completed. Our values are embodied in every element of this plan that we're talking about today and that we're acting on every day, and the work that we and hopefully you do as city leaders. So those core values are racial equity, social justice, and human rights, like Councilor Taylor said a moment ago, climate action, and ensuring that we're partnering in as many places as possible so we maximize our effectiveness in these areas.
And I think you as a senior center and the commission supports this with the partnership with the University of Iowa, the College of Nursing. I think I came one time and had blood draw for something, for cholesterol check or something through here because you partnered with them, and that's a really excellent program.
So how will we know if we've achieved our vision for racial equity, social justice, and human rights? Here are a few examples. We will know it when we can say that our community celebrates and welcomes cultural diversity, that our community acknowledges and commemorates accurate historical cultural perspectives, that every resident understands how systemic inequities have disadvantaged some populations and have the skills to disrupt that bias, as well as acknowledge the systemic barriers in policies, programs, and services, and making sure that those are properly addressed. We want to build partnerships that facilitate equal access and opportunity while simultaneously making sure that we're making community decision makers building up community decision makers that reflect the diversity of our community. All the while, we focus on equity, inclusion, and belonging as a clearly identifiable aspect of all city operations and initiatives.
How will we know if we've achieved our vision for climate action? You might think that, you don't have much of an effect on that, but the world looks to Iowa City to copy our innovative carbon reduction strategies, and I think you folks have been looking at that, and as far as the renovating of the building and what kinds of things that you can do, since it's like a almost centuries-old building that perhaps wasn't conscious of the climate back then, but now do more climate action kinds of things. Even I think there's talk of solar panels at some point somewhere, so that's a really good thing. Net zero greenhouse gas emissions are achieved across all sectors. You're looking at that also with the renovation. What kinds of things can we utilize in the renovation of the building that uses less of that, causes less gas emissions. Every household is prepared for extreme heat, cold, and weather events caused by climate change. I believe you even maybe offer some classes at the senior center on homes and how to deal with your home and climate action. Biodiverse environment is found throughout our community. Our children's water, air, and soil quality is better than it was for us. Residents choose to take climate action, such as riding the bus, which we've talked about, shopping locally, and conserving energy. And I would add, playing locally, coming to the senior center to play and do those kinds of activities to keep healthy, safe, and sense of community are improved for all. So.
How will we know if we've achieved our vision on partnership and engagement? I think it's appropriate for us to go doubly on this one. The public believes that opportunities for public input are worthwhile and sincere. Public dialogue is respectful. Decision-making is transparent, and every resident is routinely reached by the city in a way that aligns with their preferred method of communication. That means coming to where people are.
And that's also, we've heard over the years with the growing population of immigrants and non-English speaking residents in the community, they're asking for instruction kinds of pamphlets and things that are in other languages. Swahili has been asked for a number of times, and of course Spanish, and I think that some of your programs and things are in other languages, which is good.
We also want to make sure that our neighborhoods are a source of grassroots community building and prosperity. that our community stakeholders trust and openly communicate with the city, as well as cultivate, again, public-private partnerships that are common and a natural component of every one of our solutions. So, I don't know how you've handled this in your
Yeah.
presentations, but I kind of just have left it with people unless we want to have an open
If they have
dialogue.
questions or if they have ideas
Mm-hmm.
about some examples of how you, as the senior center or as the commission itself, commission members, can carry out these values of the board and follow through on that, the city's view of where we'd like to be.
So this is really the whole point of this entire presentation, and something that's been integrated into a lot of the proposals and presentations that staff gives us at council are specific action areas where what we're doing and how that explains what we're doing and how directly it relates to our strategic plan. So just being cognizant of that and mindful of that is something that we just really appreciate because we're all in this world together, and we really do believe that this plan is going to get us towards making Iowa City the best city to live in to come for many more years.
I think the ultimate goal is for 100% participation, or at least 100% able to participate. And so I think the work at the senior center by the staff here, they're really focused on eliminating barriers to participation. And to me, that's kind of the approach. Like, technology has taken us a lot of places, but some people are left behind by that. So eliminating that barrier for people, making sure there's in-person stuff, making sure there's transportation to get here. The building is fully accessible and functional. Yeah. So I really appreciate the work that these folks have done already on some of the things that you've listed today. So.
And we appreciate that too. And it's not gone unnoticed that those kinds of things that you've done over the years, as I've said earlier, it's an older building. There was not thought given to accessibility or handicapped or that kind of thing. And you folks have really kept that in mind and made it more accessible to all folks.
I think especially during the pandemic, there was a real core group of people working in Johnson County area that, there was the large group of people at risk, and everybody kind of came together and worked as a team to eliminate barriers to be able to get vaccines and to be able to socialize at home. So technology access, all of those things were really a focus of this group, and I feel like it was a great success.
So without even knowing it, you were following our strategic plan and
Yes.
Before it was even passed.
We wrote it.
helping us achieve our vision, yes.
Does anybody else have anything to comment? I feel like I keep talking.
No, that's fine. We appreciate you being on the commission. That's great.
This is also your space.
Oh, well, it's all of our space.
All right. So the strategic plan also has specific impact areas and action steps. You want to take it away?
Well, neighborhoods and housing, a lot of people talk about downtown as being the core of Iowa City, and so you're kind of your own little neighborhood right here, and a lot of activities, a lot of things going on. So I think that's very important that is a part of this core neighborhood of the downtown area. Mobility, I touched on that as far as making it accessible and the bicycles or walking and improving people's health and well-being so that they can do those things, bike or walk or get to the bus. Economy, of course, you have classes for folks that help them with those kinds of things, and safety and well-being. I think I see that as like a really key area of what you as a commission provide and with the senior center is the safety and well-being of primarily the older population, but you include everyone in that, which is good.
Absolutely. So each of these 4 impact areas also have specific strategies that are associated with them. Next, each impact area of the strategic plan is broken down into a vision, strategy, and action steps. The vision is our why we do what we do and the type of community we aspire to be. Our strategy is the what, the top priorities that we have that will focus to move our community forward. The action steps are the how, or the specific projects we want to implement over the next few years to get it all done. Anything else? The first impact area that we have is neighborhoods and housing, like Councilor Taylor already mentioned. The vision is this: Iowa City is a collection of authentic, vibrant neighborhoods and districts. By way of internal and external streets and trails, each community member has safe, easy access to everyday facilities and services within a 15-minute walk or bike ride. Neighborhoods are compact and socially diverse, with a variety of housing choices and at least one place serving as its center. Permanent affordable housing choices are dispersed throughout the community. New higher density development blends with existing buildings and shapes a comfortable human-scale pedestrian environment, while public spaces are inviting and active, with people recreating and socializing in parks, natural areas, and tree-lined streetscapes, all enhanced with public art and placemaking initiatives. This is how we want Iowa City to be. And we truly do believe in that, and I hope you guys do too, because it sounds great. So our strategies for doing that are, we first have to do a lot of technical stuff. We have to update the city's comprehensive plan and zoning code. Second thing we need to do is to partner in projects that serve as models for desired future development. It means going out of our way to make sure that we are showing people that this stuff can be done, and that means blazing the trail. And the third strategy is to create inviting and active outdoor spaces with unique and great and engaging recreation opportunities. That means working with our partners in Parks and Recreation, as well as all of our other programs and initiatives and departments throughout the city, as well as other non-governmental partners to do so. Fourth strategy is to address the unique needs of vulnerable populations in LMI neighborhoods.
That little public art in there and looking around the room, that reminds me, one thing that I hadn't mentioned is that's always been a very important part of the senior center too, is having the art displayed, and even, you know, having the artists and having them speak here and display their art, and that's very important. Obviously plays a part in our vision.
What is LMI?
LMI.
You were hoping I wasn't going to ask.
Low and moderate income.
Low and
I
moderate
think.
income.
I think
Yes,
that's what it
low
is.
and moderate income.
Thanks.
I know you guys have very distinct neighborhoods here already designated, but I would encourage you to take a look at North Liberty's Neighborhood Ambassadors Program, where it kind of even divides neighborhoods up further and identifies a couple key people to communicate to each segment of each neighborhood. And they can apply for grants for events for the neighborhood to establish like a neighborhood feel. But it's just really interesting thing that Jillian has done up at North Liberty.
That's a-
Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
Iowa City does have neighborhood associations.
Right.
And, I mean, and they have PIN grants that you can apply for to
Oh,
do
okay.
events and things like that. So I was the contact for our neighborhood for several years, but then, I mean, our neighborhood is kind of, I don't know, adversity brings a neighborhood together, right?
Oh,
We don't have a lot of adversity in our
Okay.
neighborhood. It's kind of, you know, except for that it's very close to City High, which is adverse enough sometimes. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know that they do. And I can't remember the person's name that took over from Marcia Bollinger, but they've been great about communicating to the neighborhoods, so.
nice.
Right, because there are a few neighborhoods that need some associations, but there
Right.
are some, the ones that
Right.
are existing, like the South District one is very powerful and has helped
Right.
that one to really grow.
And it's a huge with the communication facet that you guys were talking about, and communicating to people in their preferred method when you have that
Yes,
direct connection to the people living in a neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
that's good.
You want to take mobility?
Oh, go ahead. Mobility. The vision is that community members of all socioeconomic statuses easily, safely, and comfortably travel using multiple modes of transportation year-round. Commuters choose to walk, bike, or bus at least half of the time, and an increasing number of trips are fueled by clean energy. Regional collaboration, you've talked about that, has created a strong multimodal network that links Iowa City to neighboring communities. We'd like to work a little harder on that, especially with North Liberty. Highly traveled corridors have separate trails or comfortable, safe lanes for bicyclists. When prioritizing the needs of pedestrians, bicyclists, transit riders, and other emerging forms of transportation are weighted greater than those of automobile drivers and adjacent property owners. First strategy, of course, is to expand the access and convenience of climate-friendly and regionally connected public transit. I think we were one of the first cities around to have the electric bus fleet. We'd like to expand that over time. They're much more expensive, as you can probably tell, and also require different sorts of mechanical help with that. But they've been very successful, and people have loved them. They're quiet, from what I've heard, very quiet. Strategy 2, design and maintain complete streets that are comfortable and safe for all users. We'd like to hear from you folks. We hear a lot from people about their individual streets, that the traffic is too fast, or, what can we do about this? And those are the kinds of things we'd like to hear about too. Strategy 3, grow and prioritize bike and pedestrian accommodations, which is also very important. And I think you even have some bicycle classes or bicycle groups within the senior center, and that's really helpful.
Excellent. Next impact area is very important as well, the economy. Our vision is this: Iowa City is the preferred location for businesses at all stages of development. Startup businesses flourish and take advantage of mentoring and other resources. The vibrant arts and culture community attracts both visitors and new residents. Technologies developed at the University of Iowa are transferred to local business sector, creating business diversity and new value within the community. Businesses pay living wages and support skill development for their employees. We have support services such as childcare and language assistance that is readily available for all, which means every person who wants to participate in the local economy can do so. Community members support each other by spending their money locally. We have a few strategies to do this. We want to reinforce Iowa City as a premier community to locate and grow a business. Strategy 2 is to ensure appropriate infrastructure is in place for future business growth and development. Strategy 3 is cultivate a strong entrepreneurial and small business ecosystem with a focus on creating new pathways to success for systemically marginalized populations. Strategy 4 is to build Iowa City's image as the greatest small city for the arts. And Strategy 5 is to strengthen the Iowa River's role as a signature community amenity and tourism generator.
And of course, safety and well-being, which I've sort of stressed here quite a bit. The vision, of course, is to support the mental and physical well-being of our community members. Public safety response, whether from the city or nonprofit partner, is nuanced depending on the specific needs of the situation. Community members receive emergency response services promptly and welcome responders as problem solvers. Inviting spaces for social interaction, which I think this is a wonderful place for that. Exercise and regeneration are equitably located throughout the community and are lively with activity and use. New and longtime community members alike, especially marginalized groups, easily build networks and establish roots within our community. Community members have safe, healthy indoor spaces and are well prepared for climate-related changes. I'm remembering a class well, it wasn't really a class, it was a get to know you kind of a thing, and it was all ages, new people, old people. We all sat around in this room and sort of did like the speed dating kind of a thing, but it was just to get to know people, and you just kind of alternated who you talked to, and you got to know all kinds of people that way, and it was really great. Got to know what brought them here, what keeps them here, and which is really important. So our strategy, of course, is implement and expand innovative public safety models to improve outcomes and relationships. There's a picture of the GuideLink Center, if you're aware of that. It's become very important in our community. Partner with nonprofits to address the most emergent and foundational community needs. And you guys can be helpful with that if you're hearing from your members, what kinds of things they need, what would they like to see at the center or in Iowa City. Strategy 3, build community by fostering social connections and developing safe, accessible public spaces for gathering. And I think that's really, really key to you folks, because I think people see this as a safe place to gather, a safe place to come. So that's very important to kind of keep that image alive.
Resources. The tools to get it done. Again, we need to focus on facilities, equipment, and technology, and that means investing in next generation facilities, investing in the facilities that we have right now, and making sure that we create safe and healthy workspaces. It means that we pursue high performance governance, reward technology and innovation. In terms of people, we again have to establish the city as an employer of choice, to build a diverse talent pipeline for staff and boards and commissions, as well as enhance engagement and welcome inclusion. Financially, we always have to grow the tax base, diversify revenue sources, and leverage outside funding, while we also maintain healthy reserves and a prudent debt strategy.
When we were developing the strategic plan for the city, we, as it calls it, alignment, worked together as a group called Better Together 2030, all in vision. Of course, the University of Iowa plays a big part in our community. And as I'd mentioned, you partner with them on many programs. So we want to parallel their strategic plan and not to have any conflicts there. The Envision East Central Iowa Plan, ECICOG, and the Department and Division Master Plans. Each of our departments have their own plans, and hopefully they are all in sync with our plan.
So, there's a lot in our strategic plan, clearly. This is only a slideshow of many hundreds of pages. So, what's not in there and what do we need to be aware of? One, 99% of what we do as a city is not being reflected in the strategic plan. The bulk of our time and resources go to the delivery of basic services. While they don't show up in the plan, they are extremely important to our work and to the community. If we don't deliver on our core services in a way that aligns with our values, nothing else in the strategic plan is possible. Two, unexpected challenges. Whether it's daily operational challenges or major events that impact the entire community, we should expect to be diverted from our strategic plan priorities from time to time and should have strategies in place to mitigate the distractions or prepare for upsets. Three, timely opportunities. Sometimes we can't predict or control opportunities that can't be wasted. For example, the American Rescue Plan Act funds that we mentioned at the top of the meeting. While these can be positive, they do take away time and energy and may require reprioritizing of resources. Four, the major projects that what major projects are you already undertaking that are not in the strategic plan? Now is a great time to evaluate where we are with those projects and chart a plan for closing the loop so that we can tackle the next step of the next set of strategic initiatives. So major ongoing projects that we're working on, making sure that we're bringing them into alignment.
Can you tell me how you define major projects? Is it a dollar amount? I mean, anything over $10 million? I mean, I'm just curious, you know.
I don't know if we have a legal definition for major, but I mean, I would say that anything is like a capital improvement project.
Part of our budget is called the capital improvement projects. There's the smaller kind of everyday maintaining sidewalks, maintaining streets kinds of things, and then there's the section on the capital, CIP, the capital improvement projects. And those are the ones over the years I've always considered to be like the major projects that are underway. One such thing is like we eventually, we talked about the buses, and we eventually plan to move that facility there off of Riverside Drive is very outdated, and apparently sits on what used to be a landfill area. So it's got some issues. So that's a major project and that's a lot of money too. So that would be a major project or a capital improvement project that over time, eventually we need to say, well, we really got to do this. We might need to bump some other things down to get that done and get that accomplished.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a rule, but really anything having to do with infrastructure is almost
Infrastructure
certainly
primarily,
going to be a major project.
Yeah, the parking ramps recently, that was added on because we weren't expecting that. We had some issues with some of the parking ramps with the infrastructure cracking and having some issues. And that was something we hadn't expected, but was a major project.
How many major projects are there on there?
Well, how many do we need to do, or how many are we on right now? Because there's many.
Yeah, and that gets published and sent to the state. You have to plan 5 years ahead for all of your major capital improvements plan projects. So
It's a very long list.
you'll find it online if you want it.
Yeah.
So that just takes us to questions, which we were already at, really. But
Yeah, excellent questions,
yeah,
yes.
does anyone?
Any other questions? Perhaps how you, as commissioners, how you can fit in with the city's vision. We kind of touched on those things.
Have there been any things that have come up in terms of actually putting into action some of your concerns?
All the time.
Any roadblocks that have easily come say, hey, this is going to retard this action?
So are you asking if any of the projects that we have pursued in pursuit of the strategic plan or trying to achieve the strategic plan have run into any roadblocks?
Yes.
That's the question? Well, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the strategic plan has only been around since January. It's been in development for a while. So, I would say the largest roadblock that we have encountered for the last couple of years, including now, is supply chain issues. As we procure different components for our infrastructure that we're building, as we're procuring chargers for our electric buses, as we want to procure more electric buses in the future, and various just problems with production like that. That is the first roadblock that comes to my mind.
One that I'm thinking of that you might relate to, Mr. Paris, is that in relation to our mobility aspect was Riverside Drive. If you're familiar with Riverside Drive, there's a overhead railroad, and there's some apartments building there. There's a Bruegger's across the street. The Come and Go just built there. But all of a sudden, there's no sidewalk, and persons are walking out into the street around that to get to the other side of Myrtle Avenue, if you're familiar with that neighborhood. So the city had thought it'd be a wonderful idea to burrow under that railroad tunnel and have a pathway there, which we've even had it in our budget that we're going to have a pedestrian tunnel there, it was going to be pretty expensive, but the railroad company put the brakes on that. So that was an obstacle because they were concerned, which rightfully so, about the integrity of that trestle overhead bridge. It's very old and mostly a lot of just dirt. It's not concrete. So they were concerned about that and said, no, we won't allow you to do that because that was railroad property. So we've since had to revise that plan, and you will see at some point in time that that section of Riverside Drive is going to narrow, and there'll be a pedestrian area around that out into what was a street, but will now be a walkway. So that's kind of a change in plans because of that. It'll be less costly than the pedestrian tunnel is going to be, but it still, it fits into the mobility thing, but it hit that roadblock with the railroad company. So that's kind of what you were talking about.
Yeah, we got to do the best with what we have, and I
Right.
guess this does help us with the resources because, like you said, it's a lot cheaper to
Right.
just move like that than to go through a piece of land.
So sometimes we do have to revise the plans, so yes.
How often does the city do a strategic plan, or is this the first one they've ever done?
Oh.
Is it every 5 years or 10 years?
Well,
or-
it used to be every 3 years.
Okay.
But with this group, this newer council, just this last fall, it was discussed and voted on to do 5-year, make it as a 5-year plan, which I kind of had reservations on that because that seems like a long ways out to have a vision. But on the other hand, it is helpful that you can kind of readjust. There was something to do with one of the parks that was put 3 years down the line, and residents wanted it to be sooner than that, so we kind of had to readjust that. And well, if we take it from there, we got to put something else there, so we readjusted with that. But so having the 5-year plan helps with that, with kind of readjusting priorities.
Thanks.
Excellent.
Anybody else? All right, thank you so much for attending and presenting your strategic plan. Do you have any closing words or?
Susan, did you have a question?
I was just going to add on to the free transportation, that I really think that, I worked at the community, food bank for several years before the pandemic. And, part of what I did were interviews and intake and helping people get transportation to jobs and things like that. And it is challenging that we've got Iowa City and Coralville, and I also worked at Trail Johnson County upstairs here for 2 years. And, transportation in the county is really complex. I mean, if you just try to figure out how to get from point A to point B in the county, it's really complex. So anything we can do to partner with other, North Liberty, Coralville, because even though we have free transportation, they're going to have to come downtown and transfer, somewhere else. And so I just thought I would add that because it does make it difficult.
And transportation is an economic development tool.
Exactly.
Getting people to jobs, because there's lots of people who can't drive to work for whatever reason, for very legitimate reasons. And yes, getting them around and talking to like some of the temp agencies and knowing that, their clientele has often no license or struggles, they're transportation insecure. And they want to work. And just getting them up to Centro and North Liberty or,
It's a very good point.
yeah, it's impossible and there's no solutions. So
And
I
that,
hope we
and
can
we
work on
mentioned the
that.
slide that had the obstacles on there, that perhaps is one obstacle that we have, is Coralville and North Liberty cooperating with Iowa City then and making it easier. From what I understand, North Liberty basically just kind of has a back and forth sort of transit system, and Coralville, of course, has theirs that, and does come in to Iowa City, but we need to work a little closer with them. We've been working very close with the University of Iowa because, of course, they've had, well, they call it a free, but it apparently comes out as student fees eventually. So it's
Yeah.
sort of not free, it's free to get on it, but it eventually comes from somebody's pocketbook. But
All
we've-
transit subsidized by us, so what is another couple $100,000
Right,
subsidizing
but,
it?
but we have worked with them, and,
Yeah.
so that's a good point.
I guess just the closing thing for me, at least, would be again to just thank you all for all the work that you're doing.
Right.
This is an extremely important role that you have in our community, and we cannot share our appreciation enough. It can often be very difficult for us to fill commission seats, so again, we just really appreciate you being here, being willing to put in the work, and work to make Iowa City the best place it can be.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We leave this? Yes. Cool.
Oh, and can we get a copy of this somewhere?
The slide, yeah.
Yeah, we can email
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We can
Rachel-
just,
Rachel can-
Rachel can send,
Rachel
Okay,
can
that'd
get
be-
copies for,
we have a copy of it. We can send it to commissioners after the meeting.
yeah, because that's helpful.
That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Have a
coming.
good rest of the meeting.
Perfect timing, thank you.
Oh, good, good.
40 minutes.
Oh, good, good, good.
All right. I'm going to have to duck out, but I'm going to leave and entrust the rest of the meeting to the four of you and, well, and staff. Yeah, so I'm going to have to actually take off after this. Good thing it's Latasha next for agenda item number
I'll
5,
start
operational
talking. Yeah,
overview.
I'll be brief. This is our operational overview. So Senior Center programming is always booming. Next week on Tuesday, we would like to invite all of you and anyone in the public that sees this. I don't know if they're going to see it before it actually gets published out there, but for any of our members, any of our volunteers, any of our donors who have contributed to helping us to be successful, we're asking them to meet us at Terry Trueblood, 4 o'clock, for lots of delicious food. I think we have food trucks from Marco's, Rodney's, and the Moo Moo ice cream people are coming. Is that called Moo Moo? But we'll have those out there, and for those coming in, we'll have a ticket for you to be able to exchange for a meal, as well as we'll have music by a band that I can't remember the name of, but they're a band. We'll have a couple of members from City Council to come and just thank everyone. And I'll do a song and a dance. No, I'm doing neither. I'll say a few words. But we do want people to come out. We'll have the Rec and Roll from the Rec Center out there, so we have games that can be played, and just a good time. So the weather looks to be beautiful. So wear your shorts and your t-shirts. Nothing fussy. Just be comfortable and come out and have a good time with us. We look forward to having folks come out for that. I wanted to firm up that the center is remaining here in our location, and we're doing our renovations, and I'll talk about our master plan update here in a little bit to specifically talk about where we are in that process. What I do want to bring up as a programming kind of idea, something I've been bouncing around in my head for a long time, and I'm working with one of our senior center members here to bring about what we call a group called Elders of Color. So we have reached into some of our different populations that we're connected to bring about an event on June 14th, and we're going to have a luncheon and kind of specifically talk about what is it that older folks of color are interested in here. How can we get them back through the door? I always tell people, I said, despite what it may seem like, we have the number, if we look at our statistics and we look at the statistics in our community, our numbers are 1-to-1. So we're not over or underrepresented actually. What we also have found is that many of our older folks of color sometimes don't live as long. So that's why we're not seeing some of those numbers when we're in those 70s and 80s. But when we look at our numbers, we are 101. We're not disproportionate in that regard. But we would like to make sure that this is a space for everyone. Kind of going specifically back to the values that the city has is also a value that I have as a director, as well as the value of many of our members have expressed that we want to make sure that anyone who comes into our building feels not just welcome, but included here in the space and feel like that they can make suggestions outside of swimming pools that can potentially be implemented here because we can't have a swimming pool. So what I would like to also bring up is one of our commissioners. He's not here, and I'll give him a chance to talk about this a little bit more, but we've had a couple of discussions about bringing what he's calling, this is from one of our commissioners, Gilchrist, about doing a wisdom circle. And our hope is that we would get representatives from some of our different groups, whether that's our queer elders group, elders of color, and some of our other groups, to be a part of what we're calling a wisdom circle, where people would be able to kind of express, give wisdom about different things, have different discussions. But it'd be another social connection opportunity here, maybe even some potential community engagement in the future. So we're looking forward to that, and we'll bring about some more information about that, but we definitely wanted to bring it here as an idea. Hope that you guys will support that. And so that's that part. For the Senior Center Master Plan update, I am very happy after multiple years to let you all know our hope is to break ground on the exterior part of our project in September. So we're going to have some excuse our mess signs up for about a year or so because you all know we're dealing with, limestone and different things like that. And so we have to have our parapet, which is I call it the Romeo and Juliet part of our building at the very top, it needs to be reconstructed. And so one thing that's also important that I learned from our master plan architectural firm is that renovation of historical buildings is a sustainability and a climate action, because we're not tearing something down and then building it. We're maintaining it. And with the help of our historic preservation specialists, we do believe that we can get another 100 years out of this building. So we're coming up on our 100th anniversary in probably about less than 10 years, but since this building hasn't been renovated in 40 years, we've been doing really, really well at maintaining it. So we do have some things. We got a couple of cracks here or there that need some glue, well, whatever it is, material that they use. But other than that, the building has really, really amazing, strong bones, and we're really proud of that and proud to be able to maintain it, not just as a historical building, but also as a senior center in our community. So my other thing is just a really important reminder for commissioners that we really need everyone's attendance, especially in the next couple of months, because the only way that we can send things to city council is through our commission. So we will get delays if we need to. Some stuff we can push through. Some stuff, if we just have no choice, we'll push through. But there are things that we prefer to send through our Senior Center Commission before it goes to council. And because we're coming up on all these renovations, we need you. We need you here for these different meetings. If you can't make it, I get it. People go on vacation, different things like that. Because we are not able to use Zoom as an option for attendance, and we're a small commission, it is going to be really vital in especially our next year as we get some things accomplished here, to have folks here. And we promise to try to keep our meetings to an hour if we can, to be able to get those things accomplished. So that's all I have for my operational overview. Is there any questions? I'd be willing to take questions.
I have a question. Is that true of all commissions in the city, that nothing can be sent to council until it goes through the commission? Or is it just unique to?
As you all are appointed as our advisors to city council, we have upon ourselves a lot of times, like if I have to write a memo a lot of times to council, I'm going to bring it to you all first and say, hey, I'm writing this memo about blah, blah, blah. What do you all think? And might be like, yeah, go ahead. We don't have to vote on it, but as my advisors and as the people who have been appointed by city council, I feel I should. If it's something that's emergent or something, I'm not going to wait to the next meeting, But if it's some things that are kind of ongoing and, because if you all have to go and represent us down at council, it's important that you know these things. And I'm not just randomly telling you like, oh yeah, we did all these things and we sent it to city council. So I try to bring it before you. It's a respect thing to just, but if we have some emergent things, trust me, I'm going to be on the phone, we're going to get those things handled. So, yeah. Other questions?
So for the event on at Terry Trueblood, could you give me a time for it?
Oh, it is at 4 to 6, right? Yeah, 4 to 6.
Okay.
Out of Terry Trueblood, delicious food. I love the ice cream part. Well, my kids like to come, but they volunteer. Okay, one of them volunteers. The other one tries to pretend they're volunteering through their other sibling. But anyways.
I have another question.
Yeah, sure.
Those with limited mobility, are there, how far away from the activities?
Oh, all the activities will be inside Terry Trueblood, as well as there's a bus that goes right out there that if you're 65 and older, you can ride for free. So, yep, it's just right inside. The activities are all either right inside the building or on a patio right outside. So you don't have to do a lot of walking. But there is a little bit of a limitation for folks who are getting off from Terry Trueblood to the building. It's, I don't know how far it is, maybe half a block. You think maybe half a block or so to get to the door. Yeah. If you drive it, you can park in the parking lot. But if you're on a bus, it's probably about half a block to the door. So.
And it lets you off right at the side of Terry Trueblood. So, and that's very helpful.
Yeah. But if you need me to come pick you up on the corner, you let me know. Throw you in my truck.
We need a tram.
A tram. Oh, sheesh, that would be nice. It'd be nice to have a tram. Boy, we get through places real fast. Okay, I'm going to hush because I know we're on time. Oh, the open house. Ooh, yes. We need you all for the open house. Open house is June something. 8th. Thank you, Kristen. June 8th, and it's from 4 to 7? 3 to 7.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure. I want to say 3 to 7. That sounds okay.
3 to 7 sounds right, but it might be 4 to 7. Anyways, it's going to be amazing. I'm very excited. We'll have lots of food. And, well, listen, we're going to have a lot of food, but it's going to be little cutesy food, so don't come think you're about to get full. So, but we will have some appetite. What's the fancy words for hors
d'oeuvres?
Hors d'oeuvres. We'll have hors d'oeuvres that you can partake of, as well as desserts and beverages. And then we will have the building set up, and then we'll have if you came to our open house before, we'll have mini classes set up. So if you want to experience some of the classes, as well as we'll have our in-house agencies like VNA and different folks like that, they'll be in their different spaces so that you can see the space and talk to them. And we're still working out a lot of those details, but we're really excited about it. Y'all know it's going to be fresh flowers because I got to have fresh flowers. But it's going to be beautiful, and we would love for you all to come out. We're getting them pins. Are they getting name tags? Yes, we'll have name tags for you all. And we need people for our welcome tables. So we're looking for a welcome table on the 3rd floor and on this floor. So it'd be great to have commissioners. We're also going to ask for our friends of the senior center folks to help us there too. But we'll have some brochures and some different things at the table, so that people can, say, read this. This is us. So looking forward to having that come about on June 8th, 8th, sorry. We've had it before. It was amazing. I think we had over 400 people come through the last time we did this. So this year, our theme is Here to Stay. So we're really going to play on that. Last time it was Center Secrets. But this time it's Here to Stay. So come out, join us. Those in the public, it's open to anyone in the community, no matter your age. But if you're under a certain age, bring an adult with you, like the little people. All right. You guys are up. Commission discussion.
So, commission
Right.
discussion. So, let me just ask if there's any questions about the master plan and about policies. You can get that over.
Okay, so are there any questions about the master plan, the senior center master plan?
No.
No.
Okay, thanks. And then policy review? So policy review and approval, I will turn over to Kristen.
All right, in your packet, there are two policies that staff has gone over recently and had some changes on. So policy updates, when we make a change to policies.
Can you use your mic a little bit more?
When we make changes to policies, those go to you all for approval. And so the two policies that we had that we made changes to was fundraising, donations, grants, and partnerships. And the other one is hours of operations. Since we have a lot of what the changes are switching the verbiage back to the Iowa City Senior Center. So that's the majority of the changes in both of these documents. There are a couple of things that I'll note under fundraising, donations, grants, and partnerships. Under the donations section, we updated how those donations are processed to reflect how we currently do that, which is processing through our database, ActiveNet, and that then they're recorded in the donor database that Jesse Simon, our development specialist, oversees. So we noted that, and we also changed some verbiage around that donors may be recognized in print or digital publications periodically. And then under types of gifts, we updated number 2, the last sentence there, that no item may be gifted to the senior center where the owner retains rights to the item or dictates its use. Those were the 3 changes that were outside of just the name change in that policy. And then under hours of operations, we
I think we
made a
have to,
change.
do a vote on that before
We
we.
can, sure, yes.
Yeah.
So, Sue, I'll let you, if you want to ask for a motion to approve the updated changes for the fundraising, donations, grants, and partnerships.
Okay, so I am looking for a motion to approve the policy changes to fundraising, donations, grants, and partnerships policy. Do I have a motion? Okay, Nancy,
Motion?
pardon?
So moved.
And then we just second.
Oh, and then, we need a
And
second.
second.
Okay. Warren seconds. And then we've got,
She's got to call the vote.
Oh,
so we will call a vote on that motion. So all in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay? Okay.
we'll get it, yes.
Motion passes.
We're working through it.
So then the other policy that we made some changes to, the routine hours of operation, we indicated under number 2, evening and weekend hours are created for programs, services, member access is what we added, and rental access at the discretion of the senior center coordinator or designee. And then we also added at the discretion of the senior center coordinator, the building may occasionally be closed for staff in-service days. And then under holiday hours, we updated number 2 to read at the discretion of the coordinator or designee, specific areas of the facility may be opened for rentals, special events, and contracted work or services on a designated City of Iowa City holiday. So that was the change to that policy.
Any questions?
Okay, are there any questions about those policies?
Regarding the hours, I was unclear what the hours were.
You want to? I can do it. Our regular hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 p.m. currently. And the evening, sometimes on weekends, sometimes there's rentals, there's other events that are going on. So it's usually up to me signing off on a document saying it's okay that people are renting the building and they're throwing a party or whatever. And so that if we need to be closed, sometimes we'll close for in-service day. We're just including that as part of our policy, saying that that's usually up to my personal not personal, but my work, my work discretion, that we need to do it in service to kind of get caught up on different things going on in the building to prepare us. We usually do that probably once every 6 months or so, to just, because we're a small staff, it's hard for us to all get in one room, because then the rest of the building, we think the members might run wild and take over, and so we have to, I'm just kidding. But no, that is mostly what that is. It's just so we can have in-service and when to give permission for those other things.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay, so now we need a motion to pass this new verbiage on the fundraising,
No, just hours
I'm
of
sorry.
operation.
on the hours of operation
I
and
so
holiday
move.
hours, right? So do I have a motion?
I so move.
Okay,
I second.
Second.
Nancy seconds.
I think it was Tasha. Yeah.
Pardon? Oh,
It-
oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just trying to get it clear for the record.
Okay, so all in favor to pass this new verbiage on the operation hours, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
I love this. This is great.
I'll get there.
It's good. It's good.
This last one, Commissioner's Report of Community Correspondence. So just if anybody, wanted to report back anything that they had done in the community.
Okay. Okay, so our next agenda item is the Commissioner's Report on Community Correspondence. So does anyone have anything they'd like to report from things they've done in the community?
No.
No? Okay. And then, are there any future agenda items that you'd like to add? Nope? Okay. Then I say meeting is adjourned.